This is the Alpha Airdrop, and I'm here with my boy Son Cipher, and uh, it's another day in this crypto life, man. And we got a lot
Yeah,
of topics today, yeah, and we gonna get into it because it's been a long week. A lot has happened, and man, this is a lot. So starting off, I know everybody probably hit the video because of the title, and let's get right into it. What's going on between Zen and Hex? And I'm gonna let my boy Son Cipher get in on this because we've been really just seeing uh a lot of hate in the community towards towards Zen. But for the most part, we all know the Hex project has no traction right now. Now we're bullish on the Hex, very very bullish. But in the short term, and in the most recent times, uh, not only has Richard Hart made a fool of himself, and I've been very very vocal about this. And I'm in telegrams talking about this. I'm in spaces talking about this. And if you've talked to me, I will tell you this guy is a clown right now. And everybody sort of kind of feels the same. So we gonna dig into it. I just want to see what my boy Son Cypher got to say because we've been really viewing the community and seeing the sentiment. And we were some of the first people to come out and be like, yo, this is bullcrap what this dude Richard Hart is saying. And we caught major flack for it. And now other people, man, people shooting they shots with the founders in the room. You know what I'm saying? Jack is in the room and they shooting off the shot like, oh, Richard is a scammer. And, that's how we got certain things like this going on right now in the community. But I just want to hear what he got to say.
yeah. What's up, world? Shout out to Cosmic Kid. Yeah, we finally got the god up and running, son. This is episode number 0, Alpha Airdrop. It's been a long time coming, yo, but we about to hit you over the head with that realness, and of course, nothing but that alpha. But to directly answer your question, like based on my perspective, I'm even gonna go, you know, expand the horizon, because I've made it a point to be in, like, the Twitter spaces with Hex, and also in the Zen chat room on Telegram. Like I've been, for the past 2 weeks, I've spent considerable amount of time in both of those particular social platforms, right? And definitely the Hex, like, hate is real regarding the Zen, and everybody has their reasons. But if we if I am being fair of my observations, I've heard like some shit in the Zen chat that kind of disgusts me as well. How, like, people hide behind, it's like you throwing stones, but in a crowd and shit like that when you want to talk shit, Richard Hart or Hex or whatever, whatever. There's a bit of that going on as well. But as my man Kid said, and this is in response to whoever was talking and brought up Kid's name in the spaces the other day. I don't know who you were because I was just listening. I was working, but you basically was, trying to get at Kid because he said in Zen what he's been saying on fucking Twitter for months now. And if you heard us on any type of platform that we've done anything publicly, you're going to hear him and myself and, a chorus of other people who are scrutinizing, certain aspects of things in our community, as we should. So whoever that was talking that shit about Kid, you called his name, so you know who he was, but yet you're gonna run to Twitter spaces and talk shit and presume like he sold all his hex, so he's mad. My dude ain't sold no hex, yo. I know that, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, we've been behind the scenes building for like 2 years now. him nor myself, none of us has sold a fucking hex. We've only purchased more hex. So this is not, I know it's very easy to try to put people in a little, bottle and square us up, because it makes it for an easy argument. But nah, yo, we Hexicans 100. So we'll get that straight right off the bat. So I see like a bunch of craziness going on both sides of this equation. And my thing is this shit is absolutely unnecessary. And to me, like I'm not really, really even proud to be, aspects of me is the social aspect of me. I'm not really proud to be a part of this crypto shit right now because this factious bullshit, yo, is ridiculous. And there's such a big game of play, right? So we got that going on. And just to kind of like crystallize that down, we'll go from both sides of this, we'll start like, with the stir up from this past week. And I think we were actually both in that uh space on Telegram, might have been about 5 days ago, give or take, when Jack came in and someone asked him the question. I think it was a direct question. Someone asked him about the OA in
Yep.
Hex or whatever, and he gave his opinion and observation on that particular question or whatever. And like I'm a half a world away, so I'm not really caught up in all like the Twitter stuff anyway. Even if I was like had the time to be involved with that, but I have been spending a lot of time in spaces. So like when things happen in the northern hemisphere, it's literally like I'm a half a day ahead of that or behind, depending on when it happened or whatever. So these cycles are crazy. So I'm hearing about what this dude said, what Jack Levin said, what Jack Levin said. Like they're holding up entire spaces about it, and I'm like, what the fuck did this dude say about Richard Heart? I'm like what happened? Did he like shoot one across the bow? Like what the fuck is going on? I had no idea what they were talking about. But then when I found out what everybody was so up in arms about, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So now I'm hearing terms like vampire attack, I guess I'm a noob, you can call me. I never really heard that term before, really, like in association with crypto, but I guess that's going and still like somebody else's like studio audience or whatever the fuck. I don't know, man. So apparently, this guy is being accused of vampire attacks, this, that, gas, guzzler, trap, this, that, whatever, whatever, all of these things, we'll get into it because I really like hearing like all sides of a discussion anyway. I just think it would be more progressive if it was less emotion and venom and really more kind of like crystallized down to the bare bones issues that you would have with either the project or the individual behind the project. So that's my opening salvo. I know that was a lot, but I'll let you respond to that, yo.
Nah, man, you good. So, and I just want to say we not coming into this from any biased perspective. We were here for the launch of everything. We watched everything go down. You know what I'm saying? We were there before Jack said what he said. We were there after he said, and there when he said it. So our perspective is kind of, you're not gonna hear this because, for one, when it comes to Zen, nobody really knows Zen as much as us. We've been in the chat helping people out, breaking everything down for people for weeks. Um, and then not only that, as far as the hex goes, uh, even in the pulse chain chat, I'm notorious for going in there and helping people understand hex and having my own philosophies about hex. So the perspective as far as Zen versus hex, I think these two products are going to help the crypto space, period. So there is nothing in my mind that could cause a conflict. But the conflict is between the community because from day one, we was catching flack. And the thing is a lot of people are coming out about Richard Hart now and how they feel about the Hex community and how people are just suckering up. And then next thing you know, the Hexagons go out and they start saying this thing that's actually helping Ethereum and helping Hex and helping people on board is a scam or a trick or whatever people are saying. So it's just this weird, like, what community does this, and what educated community, like, it just doesn't make any sense. Who's so loyal to Richard Hart and Hex that you can't see that Zen is a good product and we all need to just mint? That's the point. Like, it just makes no sense. So yeah, we definitely gonna get into it, but just to start, we've been in all of these chats. We've heard all the opinions. So it's not this one sided thing where we were just on the spaces one night or anything. You know what I'm saying? So, and we've been on spaces as well and heard all of the sentiment there. And for months, nobody had anything to say about Pulse Chain not launching. And now all of a sudden, the whole community is in uproar because Zen launched. A founder was very transparent and said, "We want the people to know about the launch. We don't want this to be a surprise." And you know what? I feel like the Hexagons almost took it as a shot because of how Jack operated. For one, Jack came in on the channel himself and talked to us personally. And then we've talked to Jack countless times inside of the Telegram. Uh, and we understand the project through and through. But the Hexagons almost feel like this is a shot because Jack is just so to the point, clean cut, and he's just running it like a business. You know what I'm saying? He's educating the people. The community is strong and solid, and they're pulling it off. You Hexagons are trying to break them down, and this man is building. He doesn't even care. So all of the hatred towards anybody is madness. This project has nothing to do with hatred towards Hex. Even though it's shitting on Hex, and I'm gonna be the first person to say it again, it's shitting on Hex. Just because it takes all of the negative externalities that Hex has, and it either turns them to positives or you just negate it. Boom. So uh yeah, man, the perspective is really different on this, and I think people got it wrong about Zen. I think these Hexagons have issues, and you know, I'm not here to help fix your issues, but what you got to say about it?
Well, I mean, again, I guess if we can be constructive, and so let me just say this: like, if you go back and check the library on Black Dot Chronicles, um, the probably I don't know the last four streams we've actually done, um, we have been more or less speaking on this particular subject, and you know we have a lot of words on wax about this particular subject. That's my point. So what we're saying now, is not like reactionary or whatever. We've been saying this like cumulatively for a while, and I myself was making the observation. I guess this was a couple of months ago now. Um, that I I feared that some of these, well, one thing in particular, I don't even want to talk about, this outrage marketing, this, that, or whatever. I'm not, to me, that's so trivial. It's not even worth my, breath. But one thing that I think, and I think it's been confirmed, I saw that and I was quite shocked, honestly, to hear the sentiment. in the Zen chat, right? But let me just stay focused here. So, um, one thing that I said that I thought would be a problem for Richard Hart is that everybody just kind of over, or most people, the zealot amongst the community, will overlook the fact that Richard Hart said something and he didn't keep his word. Um, like I don't think it's a big issue that he made a prediction or he gave us this timeline or whatever. But like I think it's an issue that, when this all began after the sacrifice phase, Richard Hart understanding, how technology works and software works on the blockchain with his experience with Hex. He says all the time that took 2 years to launch, right? And so right after that, he would be like, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever, 1 month. And, he just kept like, dragging that breadcrumb down the trail. So I'm saying for a lot of Hexicans who are not amongst like, the elite wallets and some of those who actually have elite wallets, they share this sentiment of, and I share the same sentiment of like I would rather you just say right after the sack phase is like, yo, I'll get back to you with 6 months in 6 months with some type of update. We understand that this shit takes time, so I'm not gonna like hold everybody up, right? Like, people give Richard Hart a lot of credit for his intelligence and his IQ. So should it will be like folly of us to assume that this is something that a Mensa mind would overlook, which is his base. A lot of people made decisions on whether or not they would stake their hex or do other things, take a little bit of liquidity based on the fact that they thought it was 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever, right? So, you went from 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, mid-May launch, in May launch, whatever, to like indefinite, right? And right on the heels of that, you go on this spree of marketing campaign, which stirred up a lot of you know conversation. If nothing else, I don't even think it's controversial, honestly. I think that's giving it way too much credit, but it stirred up a lot of conversation in the community. Um, so some of the things that I've heard in the spaces, well, his Twitter following, his social media followings have increased, whatever, whatever, right? These are some of the things that people are saying, for the pro side, I guess, of this type of marketing. But I'm saying that's fine, but that's a Richard thing. That has nothing to do with my wallet. So why why are we using that as some type of great, indicator as to what's actually going on the blockchain in the code? Because Richard's social media status honestly has nothing to do with my wallet directly, and clearly the analytics does not show that because as his social media following is increasing, Hex is flat to negative, by the 95 percentile at this point, 96, from his all-time high. So again, these are things that we have been speaking about from then to now. So as we move forward, right, here comes this project of Zen, and Hexicans are saying things like idea from Richard. I'm hearing terms like vampire attack, which I've never heard before. They're talking about the gas and the inflationary aspects and all this stuff like that or whatever. And again, all these are like valid points and valid conversation or whatever. But I remember a time when Hex was like, up there in the top, like, 10, 5, many times as far as gas consumption um, on Ethereum pre post big payday. So, you know, but that's valid. People are saying that, maybe this will be negative drag on post chain because of all of the activity, you know, um, with this particular project, which I mean, that okay, that's fine. But now, like, I just feel like we're kind of going down this track where people want these perfect, their idealistically perfect projects that fits all of their, sensibilities, and doesn't any way, shape, or form, may or may not, whether it's real or imagined, interfere with the almighty, hex. And I'm thinking, yo, this is DeFi. What are y'all talking about? You know what I'm saying? And I'll talk about what I see out of this project at the end, and it really has nothing to do that with anything anybody has said on really, well, at least on the hex side, if I'm being honest. There are people, few, even on the Zen side, because on the Zen side, don't get it twisted. They're talking about numbers and mag gains and wallets and all of this talk as well. But there is other talk going on, which I feel like is more of the core of the project, and I feel like a lot of Hexicans are just disregarding, or they're just not aware because why would they even look at a white paper when this guy Jack stole from Richard Hart and he's vampire attacking the community, which again I think that's ignorant because if you say that this dude is vampire attacking the community, how can you just overlook Richard Hart doing that same function with the Bitcoin community whenever he
Mm.
founded Hex? In fact, it was called Bitcoin Hex before Hex, if we're gonna really be fair about this, right? It was Bitcoin Hex before it was Hex, and he was specifically targeting the Bitcoin community to the point where he gave them what? Free fucking Hex.
Man, that's a valid point. And then here's another thing. We've been around enough to know that Jack himself loves Hex. Jack himself, you know, he'll talk about Hex multiple times in his own chat. You know what I'm saying? This isn't like the other voice chat, where the pulse chain chat, where if you mention one other product, oh, we gonna shut you down, buddy. This isn't like that. This is a whole different deal. So while Hexicans are shutting people down, we're freely thinking and talking over there. And this is why the discussion is different and why the perspective is different over there. Because, you know, we aren't as one sided. So, yeah, but this is all stemming from Richard said 4 more weeks, 4 more weeks. We had a sacrifice phase. Then we had another phase. Then everybody else had a chance to launch their product, you know. And they actually rushed. I remember Hedron and all these other products coming out in a rush because they thought Pulse Chain was coming. It has not seen the light of day. You know what I'm saying? And it's fair for us sacrificers to have an opinion on this. It was fair for us to say something months ago, but because we understand software takes time, it is what it is. It still is what it is. But at a certain point, it's like, okay, dude, you flashing, you outrage marketing, but when we gonna get a new pulse chain update? And he just never. Oh, this is a big update. This is a big update. And then next thing you know, it's the devs are still working on it. And it's like,
So,
what, bro? This is not no
so
big update.
essentially,
Yeah.
the approach that he's taking now, which basically not saying shit until we got shit to say, this should have been, which is very organic, by the way. This should have been the approach that he initiated this whole shit with, and people would not be upset with him right now. And I just wanted to come in on this one thing that you said, and I'll let you get back into it. When you were talking about the differences between the Zen and the post chain hex post X chat rooms, where you got all these layers of gatekeeping on one side with post chain, post X, and hex is just what it is, absolute fact. Anybody that been in those rooms will tell you that, right? Whereas Zen, like I've been in those rooms many times, like too many to count. I've never heard anybody get censored. Everybody's talking about what the fuck they want to talk about, when the fuck they want to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And people have open discussion. People get loud, this, that, or whatever the fuck, but the conversation is had, is allowed to percolate and grow. And the community decides, the audience decides whether or not they want that shit to continue by what their participation in it. You know what I'm saying? And it's a beautiful fucking thing. But also, this one thing, you had these two kind of layers of people. You have people that I mentioned earlier that like are throwing rocks in the crowd at Richard Hart and like everything hex post Shane post X or whatever, which is cowardly as fuck in my opinion. Same thing the dude was doing in the spaces talking shit about Cosmic Kid when he mentioned Kid by name, but he couldn't message him on Twitter to clarify, whatever, he thought that he was saying, right? Um, but I just think a lot of people were hurt because of what we described. Richard said one thing and he didn't follow through and he just let everybody, like kind of blow in the wind. And I can tell by the tones of these certain type of people that are over in Zen talking about this. It's not even like they hate, Richard or whatever. They just feel kind of betrayed by like that particular progress or whatever.
Yeah, and from multiple perspectives, it's not only that the man hasn't released and he hasn't kept his word, but he'll for one not take responsibility for it. He'll be like, "Oh no, 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 I didn't give a prediction or no, no." There, dude, I gotta pull up some of the clips and stuff of this guy because for one, he's acting an ass. He's acting an ass on Fresh and Fit, making remarks about African American people, fried chicken and watermelon and stuff like that. Just the stereotypical
And,
childish,
pu- and
you know.
and spouting off nigga like he from that life or whatever.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
this is
In,
not the
in
first
Twitter
time that
Spaces, saying
he's
saying
letting his word
nigga,
come off his mouth.
right? And
On Fresh and Fit as well, right? So,
he did on there
and then
too.
just acting the clown.
Wow.
Yeah, bro, this is what I'm telling you. But I mean, again, we won't get distracted with that. I mean, that's
No,
on
but
wax. Motherfuckers can go
exactly.
back and
It's
check that.
it's it's so many things surrounding it because look, we actually watch this man in the moves he makes because he's a founder of a cryptocurrency, and it's important for us to stay updated and actually know what we're talking about. So, when we trying to stay updated and this man is acting an ass, how can you onboard a person? How can you get your grandmother to put her retirement in the hex, and this dude is over here talking about his PP is a Red Bull can? You know, it's not practical. And the reason why a person is saying this is because Richard didn't used to do this. Richard used to sit down with a suit in flower shirts with a top hat and really bust it down to you. And that's the Richard that
Looking
got
like
me in
Count
the
Dracula
hex.
and shit.
Right. Yeah.
Looking like a B grade Count Dracula and shit, right?
Right.
That's when RH was cool and shit, yo. When he thought he wasn't cool, like I mean, look, let me just go into my psychology hat. Uh, like, look, man. One thing I have to respect, he's very honest about himself, like what he wants out of life, this, that, this, that, and he really has no problem saying he wants to be liked. He needs this attention. He wants to be the, admired one and crypto and this and that and all these spaces or whatever. So he acts out as such, right? As he feels like he should. I don't know if anybody's giving him this advice. I think probably not too much. Um, but he's basically a nerdy kid who, did really well for himself and had good friends along the way that, he's probably had for, some of them, a few of them for a lifetime. And he's come from that world. He talks about this. He's from South Florida. I lived in South Florida for like 6 years, before I moved out of the country, so I know I can understand that aspect and shit, but that's just you don't go from like so he did this Miami thing, right? I'm just giving an example. He did the Miami tour and he was like on like three or four like little streams. The first one was with the guy and like the little Latin girl or whatever. And RH is sitting on the couch, and he's talking, he's over the top, but he's talking like Richard Hart, you know what I'm saying? Like we would normally hear him on the stream. The next time I see him, he's on Fresh and Fit, and all of a sudden he's like, "Yo, dog, nigga, don't da 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 da," like I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like he completely switched his code. Again, we documented all of this, so it's not like something new we're talking about. So he's the code switching. So to me, that shit is offensive as fuck. If he was always like that, I mean, let's get beyond the point that he feels comfortable by like calling whoever nigga, you know what I'm saying, like in public, even if we got boys from fucking utero and shit, right? I don't give a fuck. You don't do that shit with your heart. You know what I'm saying? You don't get that pass, bro. Your money don't buy you that shit, son. Like that's real talk. And if again, miss some mind, bro, like you need to get out a little bit more and shit. Stop, like dreaming about like, shit you wish you had when you were like 10, 11, 12, and 18, 24 and shit, right? You know what I'm saying? Now your money can afford you all of these things, and that's great. But real talk, bro, right underneath your eyes. So you're offending all these different sects of your overall community and shit, and your support is receding. This is what I basically feared, anticipated, and calculated in our earlier streams, and I'm hearing it with my own ears inside of this Zen chat. You got these zealots, you know what I'm saying, who just like, happy to, get away and like again, like they're happy in a crowd, they can talk shit in a crowd, but they would never say that shit to your face. Those motherfuckers are over there. But then you got motherfuckers that just are looking for something different. You know what I'm saying? The pure DeFi and all of these tenets that we supposedly hold true and love, right? These are the two type of like I would say disgruntled hexicans that I'm seeing over in the Zen community. You know what I'm saying? And so, and it's more reactionary as well. You got people like kind of reacting to all this hex hate, this hate coming from a portion of the hex community anyway. But it's a back and forth thing, and I think absolutely unnecessary.
Oh yeah, man. Especially coming from Hexicans to new people who are in Zen. It's just terrible, man. Especially let's talk about K4K. So this dude K4K decided to make a video and talk about Zen and uh for one, I personally know people who've talked to K4K and he doesn't have the slightest clue of what's going on with Zen. He said what he said in the first video, and now he's backing it up with no research and just straight up. He's acting like he knows what he's talking about when he has no clue. Nobody knows what they're talking about, and that's the biggest point. Is nobody knows what's gonna happen with Zen. We thought, just like the founder Jack will tell you himself, we all thought it would just be 10,000 global rank day one. And to pass over 100,000, 200,000, literally, day one, yeah, you just had to have been there. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, it's just no point in not in any of this, man. No point in any of it because a lot of people are just getting in. Uh, they're learning, and a lot of these people are Hexicans.
Yeah, like I would say majority of that Zen community are definitely Hexicans or in some cases former Hexicans. Um, but yeah, I just think that, it's just a shame, man. Like, and I'm kind of so let me just go into, what I actually see Zen ultimately being. And I can say personally that I wasn't even thinking about like how many, you know, I didn't have a number like of how many wallets would be for a stake because I wasn't even I've never really thought about the project in that light. Like most of crypto, like mad gains and blah blah blah, whatever. I'm aware of the game mechanics and the different functions for minting and staking and all of that. But that's not what excites me about this particular project. And I think like it's so funny that certain hexagons are so adverse to this, especially when the barrier to entry is basically a gas fee. Now you can complain about that on POS, but since then it's launched on BSC, POW, Avalanche, and Polygon. All of those have way lower gas fees than POS. So we can mark that argument off the list, right? Now, another thing that I've heard was, inflation, is hyperinflationary, blah, blah, blah. People are just going to keep dumping on your head. Oh, hold on. I forgot about the bots. Let's talk about the bots, right? Most of the early talk was like bots are going to front run and they're going to generate all these wallets and da, 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 da. even in my meager analytics that I've done, which is basically just looking at like the total global wallet count on each chain and kind of, being in these chat rooms and understanding and hearing these hours of conversation, literally everybody's telling you exactly what they did. And I don't know anybody that didn't mint less than 10 wallets on any chain. Like, I haven't heard anybody that spoke anyway that said they minted less than 10 wallets, right? So as far as the bot conversation on Ethereum, I don't think we've even reached a million wallets on Ethereum yet. All right. So I'm just saying, if most people have at least 10 wallets and shit, there is some bot activity. I mean, even people in the chat have said that they're going to use bots or whatever, but nobody's trying to fucking become like billionaires by using bots and shit like that. And again, on a network like Ethereum, there's inherent risk that could be in included with that particular type of transaction, just with regards to how schizophrenic the gas fees can be on POS.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Nah, yeah. So as far as this whole just minting the supply and the infinite supply, like it doesn't make any sense. It's because when it comes down to price, if you go and try and buy 100 million Zen, it's gonna cost you more than one ETH. So, and that's the real crazy part. Some people have already done calculations, and 20 million Zen is gonna cost you one ETH. Like I don't know the value in the next couple of cycles of people minting, but for right now, 20 million, which is how much I'm getting estimated for my 300-day mints. Uh, that's selling for one ETH. So that's just value in itself, right then and there. But all of these people who are saying we're just gonna mint ourselves to zero. Uh, for one, if you know anything about blockchain, we're capped by the limitations of the blockchain. So we can't just spam the network all at once. And of course, if you spam it constantly for days, you're just gonna constantly be eating gas. And for it to be just one project eating up all this gas and everybody getting in, it's kind of unrealistic. Or everybody dumping, very unrealistic. So, uh, what's happening now is natural. If for anybody who's worried or have heard anything negative about Zen, you should not be worried at all. For one, like we keep mentioning, the founder has done his research and will tell you that this is how this had to be. This is exactly what this is for a reason. And you can just go read the white paper on Fair Crypto Foundation, faircrypto.org. But yeah, man, it's a good product, and for people like K4K and all these other people in my chats, I just had a person who I thought was a Hexagon and understood blockchain just messaged me with some Zen hate, thinking that I would be a part of it, and actually no, I love Zen. So yeah, for people who have this weird perspective, I want you to really look back and just think of Bitcoin. Just think of the halvening cycle, the difficulty ramping up. You're not gonna be able to mint all of this Zen forever. In 8 years, you're gonna mint about 10 Zen per day, and even if a million people come in after you, you're at max gonna mint about 43 Zen per day. So, and that's max. If a million people come in after you, and this is 8 years later, so this is highly unlikely if you weren't following me. But yeah, there's no way to game this. This is fair for everybody, and that's what people don't understand.
Yeah.
If you put a
You
F
guys are
load of
passing by.
bots in, you got a bunch of addresses with bots and everything, then all that'll happen is you'll just waste a bunch of gas, and you'll have all this Zen, you'll have all that value, but now you got to get it out. You got to pay all the gas to get it out. And this has been several hours and hours and hours of conversation. Oh, what if the guy's a whale, and what if the guy has smart bots that knows when to get in on a cheap price, and he's did all of this bot talk. And what if he sells the bot? And what if everybody has a bot? And it's not fair if one guy has a bot and I don't have a bot. Hours and hours and hours of conversation. So for one, it doesn't matter. The way Zen works is you're not boosting the next guy. You're boosting everybody. So for this guy who's making 1,000,000 wallets, not only is he gonna help you mint more Zen daily, but if you get in before him, then he's just gonna boost your amplifiers and multipliers. So it just makes sense. You got to do some research, and this is the thing about these hexagons: they don't do research for some reason. We're supposed to be the smartest community, and if we're apparently being vampire attacked, then I would imagine we're being vampire attacked by a good coin. I mean, there's so many other tokens that could have taken the light. Why Zen? And because this is a grassroots project, and it's gonna have organic growth. People love Zen. People are gonna continue to love Zen. Uh, and the thing is it's not just this one thing where it's in our minds. There's people who've seen the launch of Ethereum, who've seen the launch of Hex, who've seen the launch of all of this, and they can vouch for it. Zen is absolutely fantastic. It's very, very, very simple. It's this theory called Occam's razor. It's essentially an outcome is so simple, it's in your face. You can't see it because it's so clear. It's almost like if you were locked in a room or a safe with this giant vault door. You locked in the vault, you wouldn't think to just try and open the door. So it's kind of similar with Zen because uh the contract that runs on Ethereum is not performing many functions. You're just claiming your C rank, and then after your mint term, you essentially trade in your C rank and get your minted Zen. Boom. And then you can take that Zen and stake it or send it. Just straight up peer to peer. You know? And this is why I said just think of Bitcoin, because this is very, very similar to Bitcoin mining. Rather than killing and crushing the environment the same way Richard constantly talks about, oh, we just pay people, the stakers, to hold up the price. Oh, well, in Zen, you know what I'm saying? Rather than
So here's the
than,
thing.
than destroy the environment, you just mint your Zen for free. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, this is DeFi for one. Let's just start there and weigh that against all the scrutiny coming from the Hex community. This is not my opinion, just based on what how Zen has been coded. This is a 100% pure DeFi fucking protocol. Can we say that about Hex? If we're being honest, we cannot say that about Hex, yo. So whatever Zen may or may not be, just for that one aspect alone, that's a plus for me. Now, secondly, I feel like this thing is, I keep saying this shit is beyond crypto to me. It's beyond blockchain, it's beyond money because it's being distributed free. So anybody can get into the game on these cheaper blocks, right? So my thing is, people are talking about this inflationary aspect. That, I mean, based on the whole bot, frenzy scenario, hysteria, which hasn't seemed to pan out the way people probably hoped or whatever. I think a lot of people are going to stake. I think I've been saying this from day one. I think it's going to be about a 40% of like the ecosystem will be staked to some capacity, like on average.
Yeah, and these ain't no random
But
numbers and predictions. This is extensive conversation, like long term. 40% of people have to stake. The staking rewards is dropping 1% every 90 days. So it's gonna be a necessity to stake if you wanna maintain like a liquid bag.
yeah, and as far as there will be like some price movements and stuff like that, and people are gonna take gains at these times, and even worst case scenario, this thing becomes highly inflated in the beginning. I don't know that that's a bad thing because if you're playing the game, to its maximum output, then you're gonna be staking anyway for long periods. So you're not worried about the early days, just like people were inside of the Hex ecosystem. Except for there's no OA here, so this is real driven, and I think that's a positive. I'm not dissing the OA. Like I understand that OA serves its function inside of Hex, but kind of take this not kind of 100 that concept and post it into a pure DeFi um, platform through code.
100%.
So I think that's very critical as well. But I think the reason why I say like I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing if it becomes hyperinflationary in the beginning, like five, six zeros, because I think that's gonna weed out a lot of these people that just wanted to get a quick flip or whatever. They're probably gonna take a dump at a loss based on their gas fees, even what I'm saying, and they'll be kind of liquidated, and then we can get into the real game mechanics of what I perceive this thing to be, right? So beyond money, as far as like fiat value, all this stuff like that, I see this as a community building, like a fucking building, like protocol. You know what I'm saying? I know of many places that I've been in my life lately. Why what use this protocol like to literally change their entire you know standard quality of living with regards to primary necessities like food, clothing, and shelter. Now, when you get into education and like forward thinking and forward planning and stuff like that, I think this is a tool to do that, right? You can literally, I mean, imagine, wherever you're from, your county, of the whole county decided that they was gonna, fuck with Zen for whatever reason that was going on in the real world. They wanted to be able to, transact peer to peer and create value within their own community with a trustless situation. You know what I'm saying? Imagine villages over in Africa, India, Cambodia, fucking Kazakhstan, like goddamn Chirac. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck? Like we don't even got to go out of America, yo. Like these, like I'm over here in like Oz and shit, yo. There's like these remote areas where these, people are still essentially living on fucking mission, and their lifestyle compared to like the people in the city is vastly fucking worse. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times they don't have electricity, running water, all kinds of shit. And this is in Australia. It's supposed to be like a major fucking player in the global economy and shit. Right? So a project like Zen, regardless of all of this inflationary shit you motherfuckers is talking about, this will help people if it's utilized to that degree, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just my perspective. And it really, again, that's not about money. It's just about being able to have this thing to turn it into currency, whether it's crypto or fucking fiat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, it's so many use cases for Zen because it's absolutely free. Not only is it free, you're not carrying all of this mining hardware with you, so you can mint Zen, you can be on the move. It's essentially hex because you making all of this hex for just serving time, but you didn't pay nothing to get in, so the barrier to entry is actually very low, and the risk and the reward, the ratio for that is the margin is quite wide because uh in my opinion, I would feel comfortable promoting Zen to a 5-year old, or maybe uh my own kids. I don't have any kids, but my own kids if I had them, because The whole idea is you just pay the gas fee and mint the Zen. On cheaper chains, it's 7 cents. It's 30 cents. It's pennies to the dollar. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, all of this FUD you're hearing is crazy because it's literally the first week of this project being launched, but it's all coming from sour, dour hexagons. Um, and I know why y'all sour, man, because y'all not able to communicate how y'all truly feel. I can't tell you how many hexagons that I know are diehard hexagon pulsicans. That's all they care about. That's the only ecosystem they playing in. All they use is RH products. If you get what I'm saying, I keep trying to reiterate, but yeah. So, and they're in the Zen chat. You know what I'm saying? I can name drop Crypto Mando. You know what I'm saying? Jack of Hearts. These are people who, they use Hex. They got their stakes. They set up. And they're participating in this because this is real crypto, man. And if you can't see it, then get out of this game. You know what I'm saying? Uh Bitcoin was supposed to be fair. And that's the thing. Uh it was fair in the beginning, but you'll soon learn if you do your research. Bitcoin by 2012, you needed full blown mining hardware slash servers to mine Bitcoin. So, uh, it just, the difficulty ramped up too fast. Bitcoin wasn't designed for the impact of, mass adoption. So now that Ethereum has come along and solved some of these issues, a product like Zen, things like Hex, things like Hedron, this is real crypto, And anybody who can't accept it, get out. This is not your game. You're playing the wrong game. This is software. This is about what works, what doesn't work, what works good, what doesn't work as good. And that's just simply what it is. It's not feelings and emotions and all of this other crap and allegiance to crap. You know what I'm saying? My allegiance relies within the blockchain technology. It does not rely within Hex or Richard Hart or Jack Levin or Zen or any other crypto product slash project. So, the perspective from this is just straight up raw and real. It's Zen is gonna do great things, whether you like it or not. And it's just because the motto is it's not complex enough to actually gunk up the works. Like the gears, it's just 2-3 gears. You know what I'm saying? What can interfere with that? It's a trifecta that you can't. There is no interfering in the inner circle. It's just like Hex. It's immutable. There's no admin keys. And, everything works. And not only that, there's you got the estimate. So Hex don't shoot out no estimated Hex and all of this other stuff. Of course it tells you, how much Hex you gonna earn and the interest and you get to see. But going into it, there's no calculator built into the website. There's no Hex is actually a really hard tool to use if you're not educated enough just within the technology itself. And then not only that, you have to be educated in Hex to push further because that's what everybody else is doing, which if you don't do, you get diluted. So, we really do understand these things. And same thing with Zen. If a guy is minting a bunch of Zen, as soon as he decides to stop for a second, he's going to get diluted because people are constantly minting. And, down the line in the future, he'll get diluted by buyers. So it's man, it's a double sided coin. It's two sides to each coin. So we got to keep doing these live streams and alerting the community because people act like we almost not even here, like we didn't say these things. We were in spaces first saying, "Yo, this is not right. This is bad behavior. Yo, Pulse Chain needs to launch." And this was months ago. This was year and a half ago, man. Come on now. And now people are finally coming out sharing their thoughts. So yeah, man, it's all coming full circle, and Zen is just shedding a light on the bad behavior of Richard Hart. Now you can see what a good founder is. Now you can see what a good community is, where people can say what they want to say. It's all right there. But with the Hex community, that's why people hated Hex, because it's like, oh, this shit only work for Hexicans. If you into anything else, this shit don't work. Cause y'all just gonna shoot me down. And the crazy part is, the relationship we have all stemmed from me talking about Sheba and nobody wanting to hear it. And I mean, I may not be too much of a Sheba fan now, but at the time, I was trying to pitch the idea of Sheba is gonna, once the Sheba people understand Hex, they're gonna really understand it, because the idea of Sheba is to stake and earn more and more and more and more SHIB. So, um, that's all you do with Hex. You stake and you earn more and more and more Hex. So, uh, anybody who really truly understands Sheba, the Sheba swap, and everything else, in the vision with the bone and the leash token, then you understand. Okay, you stake it, you get more, you lock it up, it burns it, and it makes it scarce. So it's the same thing with Hex. It's the same thing with Zen. So and the crazy part is Hex was one of the first. Hex was the first yield farming. When everybody else thought, oh, lock up your money and get more, that's insane. Then the birth of yield farming happened, and then things like Binance Smart Chain, and you know what I'm saying, like Hex made a lot of things popular. Hex had its run. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to have more good days. But the issue is now it's time for Zen to have its run. And the hate, man, please don't be a Zen hater right now. And I'm saying that for you because uh you will see this thing pump insanely. You know what I'm saying? As simple as it is, there's mechanics that are built in. You have no clue. Uh, People might go crazy on, like this proof of burn, and even more so the proof of participation. The more and more people get in, the more and more we all earn. And it's disinflationary. It's a term. I think Hex is disinflationary. It inflates, but it's disinflationary. And I've for Richard Hart to not have deemed that term, him being a thought leader, I almost feel like uh stand aside, bro. Let the real devs, you know what I'm saying, handle this. Jack Levin actually produced the code. You know what I'm saying? Like Richard had some devs work on this shit. So yeah, a little bit of a rant there, but this is real crypto, and if you not about it, get out it, because Zen is it's this is probably, like he said, the first real crypto project. Everybody gets the same fair chance. Everybody is on equal level. Everybody is Satoshi. I've said this multiple times on record, on recording. Everybody is Satoshi. It's fair. Yeah, man.
Word up. You can hear me? You can hear me?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah, yo. Preach, son. Yo, D Bax is in the house. Yo, D Bax, say what up, son.
Hey mate, how you doing?
All right, yo, what's up?
Yeah. He's still on the Zen train.
Yeah, man. Heck yeah, every day.
Hey, yo, one thing I will say though, what's I gonna say? Oh, what? Oh shit! Hold up.
Yeah, so just for some context, this is another person who was there to the launch day one. This is a person that we both know personally and uh is getting in on the launch. And is a Hexican as well. And that just goes to show you this is deeper than what people say. The unbiased people, we're gonna win. All of this bias, Richard Hart Love and crazy man, you guys are gonna lose. Um, big time.
Yeah, I was burning the house down with this motherfucking Gundam fucking cloud, son.
Heck
It was a four, it was a four alarm over here, man. D-backs burning it down, God. Fucking
yeah.
alarms and shit, son. But yo, I was just saying though that yo, hexagons, the hex works because of the OA. Like we let's not fucking mix words and shit like that or whatever. And hexagons love that shit. But the problem is everybody else don't. You know what I'm saying? And if we're really talking about like pure DeFi and like, living up to like the mission statement of crypto and shit, even though OA acts as a benevolent figure in the ecosystem, it is what it is, yo. You know what I'm saying? So when people say that Hex is not pure DeFi, they're not lying. But as Mexicans, we're okay with that because that's the reason why we get mad gains. You know what I'm saying? So we just can't be like, like illusioned about like, what's going on inside the ecosystem and shit like that. But this Zen thing is something different. It's actually extracted that particular aspect of of Hex and shit, even though it's taken clearly game theory from Hex, as people like to, complain about. But why didn't Jack take the OA? Has any I haven't heard one single Hexican talk about that. Why did he take like, the longer pays better, you know what I'm saying, and other like, like as far as I'm concerned, really irrelevant components of Hex and shit, because everybody's doing some version of that shit at this point, but he didn't take the OA, which is like the fucking soul of Hex. Why would he leave the heart and soul and just take like, some fucking like epidermis scan and shit, you know what I'm saying? People are not asking this question because he wanted to do something different. He wanted this shit to be in the hands of the fucking people, bot, whatever fuck, right? So it's a grand experiment, and I'm cool with that. Whatever happens, if it fails, if it succeeds and shit. But if we're talking economics and shit, and like what it does on the charts for the next year, two, three, or whatever the fuck, I'm not even really too interested in having that conversation, right? Because it's a bear cycle going into a bull. It'll probably like move like in these different ecosystems, like as the rest of the thing is moving, even if it's just like a slow dragger and shit. But I don't anticipate it to be that, but I think more than anything, I want to pay attention to what people are doing. We know that already for sure. And this is something also that's unique that I've seen in these chat rooms is there are a lot of people that are actually coming up to the mic that are from fucking all over the world and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, I don't know, so many fucking different nations are somehow being attracted to this fucking coin. And Hex has that as well, but Hex had to grow that shit. This thing is like a couple of days old. Like I think people really are trying, like really want to deny what a supernova this fucking project is. You know what I'm saying? And again, this is something new that's been added to the crypto game that's never been done before, and everybody's hating on it. Just like when Hex was the new kid on the block, doing something that nobody's ever done before, even though the OA was a big part of that, and it's worked out swellingly for most all Hexicans and shit. Well, all Hexicans, but if you got in, during the all-time high, or anywhere around that 30 to 50 cent mark, which I think a lot of the people that I'm hearing in the Zen chat, a lot of them are newer to the game and they probably got in, most of them around that period or whatever. So they're feeling the pain right now, and they're just like a silent, minority that's growing that nobody wants to hear from and shit. And they feel, disrespected, and I'm not saying that I agree or disagree, with any individual person and shit. I told you my one issue with Richard Hart. I don't give a fuck about when this blockchain happens. We just got 2.0. That shit was like 5 years in the making, 4 years in the making. So again, it's just the fact that you telling people one thing, you're doing something else, and acting like it's not. You didn't keep your word.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. It's just not cool. We've been preaching the same thing. But yeah, man, we're an hour into this thing. I really feel like I got my point across. Zen is, yeah, I advise everybody to do their research. It's very simple. Get over the term date. Get over the things that are confusing you, and understand portions of it and compartmentalize it, because staking, that's simple to understand. That's separate from minting, and minting is what most people are doing. That's what everybody's doing. And if you can learn how to do this on multiple chains, that's where the real value is. You aren't paying for anything. You're just waiting time and then coming back, um, in enough time
Hey
to get your
yo,
reward. Yeah.
like if you got a volleyball team, you know what I'm saying, y'all need to like jimmy up some cash to go do this fucking body wall tournament. Go get you some Zan, and all y'all motherfuckers do your wallet, right? You got a little church fucking like choir group, go to motherfucking the national church fucking convention of choir churches and shit. The Zen shit is for
Dude,
you. You know what I'm
now that you
saying? Like,
mention
yo,
something like that, bro, I don't know if they do this in Australia, but schools would make it so if you sell like candy bars or some crap like that, you essentially get these like sweepstake prizes or whatever. So yeah, like dude, if you make 100 wallets and actually mint them all, and the proceeds go towards this or whatever. This is gonna get wild, and I'm gonna be the first to say it live on stream, on my own stream. It's my I have the idea of writing, okay, of course, a seed phrase to a wallet down, and then having the seed, the mint date, uh, and just give it to a person. You know what I'm saying? Whatever information they need to access the wallet, the mint date, and give them, of course, Zen Network, and send them on their way. Tell them learn crypto, and if you can access this, it's your money. It's all free, and this is gonna get
yeah,
popular
yo.
because I've went in the chat and heard other people talking about it, and this was the first, like, before we even launched the contract. This is something that I said. So now that we're live and I'm hearing people talking about it, I'm knowing that in the future Zen is gonna be passed out for free, just like Bitcoin, just like Dogecoin, just like these real grassroots organic communities, to where things were given for free. Oh, you need to pay your bills? Here's a bunch of Doge. Oh, you need to get this? Here's a bunch of Bitcoin. You want to sell your car? Give me some Bitcoin. I want some Bitcoin. So Zen will be used for things like that. That's the peer-to-peer aspect of it. Is if everybody's on common ground with, oh, I'll take that. That, yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody know what that is. Then people are willing to take it. That's what makes a trade, viable. Is I know what a cow is. I know what a pig is. Okay, I can trade the cow for the pig. You don't know what the cow is. It's like, why am I trading my cow for two pigs? You know what I'm saying? You don't know what the pig is. Why am I? So it's just simple, man. Zen is taking over the crypto space because of, for one, how simple, and people want free stuff, man. People understand it. Just because you don't mean people don't understand it. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll just say this last thing or two. I think people are gonna understand like it's not necessarily free because it has value based on what they put into it for one. I think that's the main selling hitch. Like I said, if like a little Girl Scout team can get like raise funds and shit over the course of a year to execute whatever thing and shit. That's value. You know what I'm saying? That shit could be replicated, whatever. I think that's the real value in Zen. And for me personally, like I honestly don't have any financial aspirations with this particular project, like per se. I just know if more people are staking than fucking selling, then there'll be some profit margin, and okay, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, that can build communities and nations and shit. Even if we're so spoiled in the West that all we thinking about is mad gains and up and to the right and all that bullshit, like immediately. You know what I'm saying? Because we've been kind of spoiled and trained in this Richard Hart ecosystem where, again, I'm not complaining a bit. You know what I'm saying? I'm all for it. I'm all in. You know what I'm saying? Just based on my fucking sacrifices and shit, right? But I'm saying like the game is rigged and shit, but in the favor of the people who are obligated to the projects and shit, and are true to the projects and shit. We gonna get paid. We know that everything being everything. So that's kind of like a cheat code that we have in our ecosystem with Richard Hart that a lot of other pretty much no other ecosystem has. You know what I'm saying? So but this is the next step. This is the evolution of that where the OA is no longer even required. And that's a beautiful thing. We should not be like in opposition of something like that, And I know it's difficult when you see like progression in your face and you're emotionally attached to this thing, whatever it is. It can be difficult for us and shit, but we're all adults here.
Yeah,
So I'll just leave it at that, bro. Like this has been a
yeah,
dope first like official airdrop stream.
yeah. Finally,
You
I got
fucking
this up and
you put it
running.
in.
Yeah, and I actually want to say one more thing, just to leave this on a hot and steamy tip. This is for Motley Investor. This dude literally said, "Oh, he asked Jack, why did you talk to the OKX founder and say nothing about Hex if you like it so much?" Man, for one, Richard Hart does not promote anybody else's crypto, and why in the hell would he be up there promoting Hex in the Hex community when he now has his own community? Makes absolute zero sense. You're an idiot. Uh, that just I'm confused why Hexicans think that they deserve something. Uh, yeah, but yeah, we can leave it on that tip because, dude, that's just crazy as hell. I don't know why people even think like that, but yeah, bro. First stream up on the channel. Finally got everything set up. Expect more because shoot, we finna get to shooting these live streams up almost on the. I want to do daily just to see what the reactions of the people would be, but yeah, man. It's been a fun one. It's the Cosmic Kid, and definitely check him out at Black Dot Chronicles. Where can they find you at? Oh, his stuff is laggy, but yeah, man. Cosmic Kid, Alpha Airdrop everywhere. Definitely tap in. Mint yourself some Zen. Don't be too late. Don't be an idiot. Don't be a maximalist. Uh, Learn this blockchain shit and fuck Richard Hart. Hey, peace out.